Yo, what's going on, everybody, man? Welcome to another episode of Built Not Bought. We are on episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are on episode 6 now. So, episode 6 of Built Not Bought. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. Also, we hit 100 views total views for the stream, podcast, whatever you want to call it, podcast. Total views is 134. So, definitely happy about that. Like I said on my last podcast, really glad to keep doing this and keep building on this platform that I'm starting to build up. So we covered quite a few things so far in this podcast. The first one was just about my journey from beginning to end, kind of total. I didn't really dive too much into my backstory, but that is something that I do want to dive into a little bit later in a different one. The second podcast that I made, second episode that we did, is where I really covered identity and how your identity ties to your growth and how you can change that to try to take control of your future. The third episode I did was about the power of intentionality in your life. Got to check for the last two real quick. The fourth episode I did was about setting standards and boundaries and enforcing those standards and boundaries. And then the fifth episode, the most recent one that I just did, was about crafting your environment and managing the inputs that come into your environment. So I was trying to figure out what a good topic would be for this next one, today's episode, what I'm doing right now. And this one, I want to really focus it on resetting. So what do you do when you mess up on this path to change yourself, to grow yourself? How do you handle that? Because it's never going to be perfect, right? When you're starting a new workout plan, how do you react to that first time that you miss? What do you do? So, and I think I might have even touched on this a little bit in the last episode, but it wasn't the main focus. So I just want to make that the main focus for this episode. Right. So, just speaking about this issue, a lot of times what you'll see happen. Oh, I remember when I talked about that in the identity episode, but that's neither here nor there. So basically, when you're changing your routines and working on something, typically people think like the biggest pitfall and the biggest area that people make their mistake is by not starting at all, starting too slow. But typically what happens is that those first couple of times that you fail, or just failing in general, how do you handle that failure? And how do you handle not doing what you were expecting yourself to do, the change that you were expecting to do? Right. So there's a couple of ways that I've seen people handle it. I've handled it. And for me personally, right, when I'm having a new workout plan that I want to do, let's say, for example, this year I'm back to getting in my physical fitness journey. So to start this year, I'm already down 20 pounds this year. I got a goal of losing 50 to get me down to 220. So about 3 weeks ago, I injured my shoulder, couldn't lift anymore. I had to stop lifting weights. So that first week where I couldn't lift weights, I just stopped working out completely. My diet went to crap, stopped working out completely. Then I told myself, I said, man, I can't go down this avenue, bro. Like, I really wanted to do this lifting weights, but I was like, I have to pivot. So I went from stopping working out completely because I injured my shoulder to like now just doing cardio. So typically when you're doing something and something happens. So my example, my injured shoulder, I stopped working out completely and I put up a 0 week where I did nothing towards my end goal. That's what will typically happen is you'll put up a 0 week, a 0 month, a 0 day. And that is what can never happen, right? If you mess up, you can never put up a 0. You always have to do something towards whatever your goal is or whatever you're trying to do. You can never put up the 0. The 0 is where you're not giving any effort. You've just totally succumbed to whatever it is, and you haven't put in any effort to do better, right? So that's where you start moving backwards, because a lot of people think, oh, I can just do it next week or the week after. But what you have to realize is, in life and anything in general, you're only moving in two directions. You're only getting better or you're only getting worse. There is no staying the same, because time moves forward. So either you're putting in the effort to get better, and if you're not putting in the effort to get better, you're getting worse. So always make sure that you do something, no matter how small it is. So, right, that next week, even though my shoulder was injured, I said, okay, even if I can only do one push up and one crunch, I'm doing one push up. The next day, two push ups, three push ups, right? As my shoulder's getting better, it's improving, just doing something, making sure you show up. No matter what, you always have to show up, because that just shows that in earnest, you're doing everything you still can do to hit that goal, regardless of whatever the obstacle is or whatever may have been stopping you from trying to hit that. And that's what correlates in your brain. Your brain doesn't think about your injury or whatever is stopping you from doing it. It just thinks you're not doing it, because there's no excuse. At the end of the day, you're just not doing it. And that can't be what's going through your head. It can't just be, I'm just not doing this. It has to be, I'm still showing up. I'm still doing this. I'm still putting my foot forward. And no matter how small of a win it is, it's still a win. So you just need to make sure that no matter what, you never put up a 0 week, because that, when you put up that 0 week, that's a loss. And you want to try to avoid putting up a loss. No matter how small your win is. Even if I only worked out for 5 minutes, guess what? I still worked out. I still got my W. I still got my win. And this is, once again, I keep repeating this. All of these things start rolling into one another. That's been the common thread in all of these episodes I've done, and this episode is no different. This is where this identity starts triggering of, I get my wins, I always show up. This is where intentionality starts triggering. I'm very intentional. This is what I do. This is where all of the setting the standards and bound. I was just looking at the different episode names. This is like setting standards and boundaries. All of these things, right? As in every other episode and as in this episode, they just keep showing up and they all roll together, right? Like, as I continue to do these episodes and really outline the different principles or way of thinking or things you need to execute on to be successful, you're going to just continue to see this common thread. You're going to continue to see these things show up, because all of these things come together to create this one big snowball that just starts impacting your whole life. And one thing turns into the next thing, and the next thing turns into the next thing. Everything is connected, right? So, you know, just make sure that with whatever it may be. So if your goal is to eat healthy, right? If your goal is to eat healthy, and you need to make sure, like, you don't have a full day where you have all of your previous bad diet. You have to change something, no matter how small it is. Even if it is just getting rid of ketchup, even if it is just getting rid of switching from regular mayonnaise to light mayonnaise, that is a win. That means that you won that week. No matter how small of a win, it's still a win. And that means that you can go into the next week and do the exact same thing. So now that small win that you just got, you carry that small win over into the next week, and you continue to reproduce that small win, and you add another small win, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're my age, you're a little bit younger, even if you're a little bit older, I'm 32. So if you're my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, we still got plenty of time. It might feel like it's a race, but it's not a race. I promise you. Take your time, build with intention. Make sure that you're doing these small things every day, every week, every month, and you're building upon them, building upon them, building upon them. And in the matter of 1, 2 years, your whole life is going to look completely different than it looked before. There's not these big things, right? Like, it's all of these small habits, behaviors, the way you think, just starting to roll into one another. So that was really the main thing that I really wanted to just tackle today is when you have that hard week, when you're in that situation where it's just like, what am I going to do? Am I going to show up? Am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? You bare minimum have to show up. Honestly, I I didn't feel like sitting in front of the camera talking to y'all today. Tonight. It's nighttime right now. I didn't feel like doing this tonight. I swear to you, I was just in my bed getting ready to lay down and go to. I literally was just in my bed getting ready to lay down and go to sleep. But you know what? I just said, man, I have to show up. Period. I have to show up. I have to at least show up. In my head, I said I'm gonna bare minimum do a 5 minute episode and just see what happens. But I got on here, started talking, liked where it was going, and now I'm at a regular 10 minute episode that I usually do. So you have to show up because you never know what's going to happen when you show up. Maybe whatever you thought isn't going to happen and it ends up being good. By showing up, you just put yourself in the position to continue to win, right? So that's really the main thing that I really wanted to just kind of talk about and go over. You just need to make sure that like when you do have also when you do mess up, right? When you do have that week where you don't go to the gym, your first reaction needs to be you need to hold yourself accountable for it. You can't make an excuse. So even though my shoulder was injured, I didn't say because I did the first week. The first week I said, man, I made an excuse for not working out that first week. But then that second week, I held myself accountable. I said, no, man. I said, my shoulder can't be an excuse for me to not work out because I can still do cardio. I can still do this. I can still do that. There's still 100 other things I can do. I don't need my shoulder for it. So I took that excuse and I got rid of it. I threw it out the window. That's the first thing you need to do, right? The first thing you need to do is you need to hold yourself accountable. And then once you hold yourself accountable, that's where you can move into what I'm talking about now. That's where you can move into planning around it, working around it, and making sure that you don't put up another zero. You don't put up another loss. But to get to that stage of not putting up a zero, not putting up a loss, yes, you have to hold yourself accountable. You can't negotiate with yourself. You have to have that standard and you have to enforce that standard, right? There's always a way to do something and not put up a zero. So make sure no matter what it is, you're not putting up the zero because that zero, like I just said earlier, is where you start moving backwards. That's where you start losing. And then when you start moving backwards, the same way that the momentum picks up towards when you're picking up these small W's, when you start picking up these small losses, they start snowballing into bigger losses. And then your mentality slips away. All the stuff that you've been building up literally goes right back down the drain. Momentum works in both ways. It doesn't just work when you're trying to build up. It also works when you're falling down. So you know what I'm saying? Continue to get those small wins. So all of that momentum that you built to the top side doesn't just automatically disappear and start moving you towards the downside. Right. So, you know, you own it, you take accountability for it. And then once you own it, once you take accountability for it, you just have to take it for what it was, right? Me working out is not like a short term thing. This is a long term lifestyle change. This is a big goal. So if you mess up on something for a big goal, you just have to realize this is a speed bump. This isn't the end of the world. Don't get in your head about it. Don't psych yourself out about it. A lot of times when you mess up, you let it mess with your head. You let it mess with you. Oh man, I missed the gym, blah, blah, blah. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Okay, I missed it. Is what it is. Move on to the next day. Next day, I'm gonna do what I could do. Boom. You take it, you're accountable for your loss. You take your loss, you own up for it, you leave it, you figure out it is what it is. You say what it is, you put a name to it, and once you put the name to it, you file it away and you forget about it and you move on and you pick up your W. And once you pick up your W, that loss that you had is over and done with and it's gone. That's it. There's no coming back to it. There's no mulling over it. There's no letting it marinate. You don't let it fester. right? When you have an open wound, you close it up, you clean it up, whatever you got to do, because if you leave open wounds open, they fester. And when they start festering, you can catch a disease. It's the same thing with negativity. When negative things start to happen, if you're not careful, you're not accountable, you don't you don't address it right when it happens, you don't clean it up, you don't dress it, you don't let it heal, well, they start festering. That negativity grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. So you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to clean it up. You need to do what you need to do to wrap it up so it can heal and you can move on and go on to the next thing. Right. And I think that's like basically everything that I really wanted to, uh, you know what I'm saying, kind of talk about with this specific topic. Um, that really, yeah. And I'm saying, so I know I'm like thinking, but that's really the next thing just that I haven't really covered that I think will supplement all of these other things and it rolls into everything else. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to kind of talk about with this. Yeah, I mean, and we talked about in the previous episode some things that you could do after you fail just to help yourself. Prep the night before, put your things out. So I'm not really gonna go into that too much. But yeah, guys, like this is honestly one of the biggest things I think. I keep we say that every episode. I said that every episode. This is one of the biggest things. This is one of the biggest things. But they're all one of the biggest things. They're all important. They're all of these small things run into each other. But I just want to highlight why this is important though. This is important because anything in life that you do that's worthwhile is like gonna be hard. Anything that is going to put you in a position of like getting recognition or being known for something is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy and you're going to fail. Period, point blank. So, right, what really is going to help separate a lot of the winners from a lot of the losers is people who just automatically do the stuff that I'm talking about right now, right? It's not just essentially being talented or being lucky. It's like being able to take that loss and then bounce back as quickly as I'm talking about right now. Like that's how the winners are made. The winners are made by like they take their loss and then boom, they bounce back, they bounce back, they bounce back. And now they didn't lost in the time span that they done lost 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. You lost one time, and because that one loss, you've just let it fester. It's that one loss is blown up into this big thing now. And you aren't even able to start winning to pick up another loss in a different area because you're still so focused on that first loss that never got over that first loss to even pick up another win somewhere else. So the sooner you get over that first loss is the sooner you'll be able to take your second loss and your third loss. And the more losses you take, the closer you get to a win. And the more wins you get, you already know. Right. So I'm not trying to get into the whole, spitting where I'm like saying quotables and stuff. I'm trying to really give you guys real world examples of how these things, small things play out and things that you could really implement. So that's all I really got for you guys today, man. I mean, I challenge you just to next time you feel like you messed something up to just really get your mindset on bouncing back. Really get your mindset wrapped around the fact of like, how quickly can I bounce back from this? How quickly can I not let this fester? So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Built Not Bought, man. And hope you guys are doing good. And that's all I got for y'all today, man. Sage out.